Hello, my name is Tim. I'm a firefighter living and working in Minnesota. I served as a paid-on-call firefighter with the Eagan Fire Department from September of 1992 until September of 2017. From 2008 until 2017, I also served as a full-time assistant chief and deputy chief of the Maple Grove Fire Department. I retired as a paid-on-call firefighter with Eagan in 2017 and was selected to become the chief of department for the City of Maple Grove Fire Department. Since 2017, I've continued to serve as the fire chief and emergency manager for the City of Maple Grove. In April 2018, I had a complete physical using guidelines recommended by the International Association of Fire Chiefs. My test results came back showing me as a little fat, but otherwise the blood work was all good, and I was otherwise a healthy individual for my age. In the fall of 2018, my life took an unexpected turn when I learned that I would be joining a growing number of firefighters diagnosed with cancer. As you can imagine, this has been a roller coaster ride so far. Although an intensely personal experience to this point, it's also one I would not keep from family, especially my fire service family. It actually happened in several stages, and this is my story. In late summer and early fall of 2018, I experienced discomfort that I thought was related to a hemorrhoid. I have a family history and remember my father's experiences with this condition. I believe it was just an angry hemorrhoid, and it calmed down with a little time and a little patience. Unfortunately, it didn't seem to get better with time. My wife, Madeline, encouraged me to stop waiting for it to get better and schedule an appointment with a doctor, so I scheduled with my primary clinic. On October 29th, of course, I'm still thinking it's a hemorrhoid and treatment should be fairly straightforward. However, my primary care provider thought otherwise. He found something that presented more like a skin tag than a hemorrhoid. Treatment, including removal, would require a surgeon. So my primary care provider referred me to a colorectal surgeon for what I believe would be a simple office procedure. Like everyone under the age of 60, I went to the internet to see what the removal of a skin tag would require. There's an episode of the daytime show The Doctors that presented this as more embarrassing than trouble. On October 31st, I went to the surgeon's office expecting it to be a simple case of clip, snip, stitch, done. However, about 30 seconds into the exam, I was told to get dressed. The surgeon told my wife and I that he was about 70% certain that I had a cancerous mass. He stressed that it could be something other than cancer, but it was going to take a little bit of additional testing to confirm whether it was actually cancer. He actually said he hoped that he was wrong and that maybe it wouldn't be cancer, but still he was about 70% certain that it was cancer, and he thought it might be a very treatable squamous cell type of cancer. So treatment for the squamous cell cancer is done with radiation and chemotherapy. It's pretty straightforward. Doesn't involve surgery. It basically causes the cancer cells to melt away, and then that's the treatment. As with a lot of different kinds of information, it's impossible for me to control the release, but I tried to manage the flow of information as I received it. So with this in mind, I brought the deputy fire chiefs and my support staff into the loop when I got this initial diagnosis. I worked pretty close with them on a daily basis, and I wanted to make sure that they would know that I might have some up and down days while trying to understand what was happening to me medically. I was a little hesitant to share a lot of details because at this point I didn't have a lot of details. On the 2nd of November, I had an MRI with contrast to scan that region of my body. And on the 16th of November, I completed a PET scan. I was scheduled to undergo a surgery for a biopsy at the end of November. Prior to going into the operating room, I met with the surgeon again. He had the results of the imaging back, and at that point he said that imaging tests showed that I had an isolated mass, a mass in my ass, and potential lymph node involvement that were showing positive indications that it was cancer. So at this point, the surgeon said he was 98% certain that I had cancer, but he still needed the biopsy results to confirm a definite diagnosis. I scheduled appointments with medical oncology and radiation oncology based on the initial belief that I had a squamous cell cancer. That would require radiation chemotherapy for treatment. As it turns out, I was really glad to have the medical oncology appointment scheduled before I received the pathology report. On December 3rd, my surgeon contacted me with the pathology results. I learned that it wasn't a squamous cell carcinoma, which is a really highly treatable form of cancer. Instead, the pathology testing showed that I have a malignant melanoma. And that's a much more difficult cancer to treat. The surgeon also stated that malignant melanoma, it isn't curable, and he wasn't even sure of an acceptable treatment protocol. I know now what it means when somebody says it felt like a gut punch, because it really took the wind out of my sails. On December 4th, after receiving a confirmed diagnosis, I realized I could begin to share information with a wider group of people. Subsequently included my fire service family, but I held off sharing this information with my extended family and friends. It just didn't seem like the kind of news one shares so close to Christmas. On the 5th of December, I had my initial visit with medical oncology at the Franschhoek Cancer Center of Methodist Hospital here in the Twin Cities. Due to the rarity of this form of cancer, it isn't something commonly encountered by oncologists. With that in mind, my primary oncologist recommended that I be referred someplace with more knowledge and experience with my specific kind of cancer. I'm fortunate to live in Minnesota because that makes the Mayo Clinic an excellent choice for referral. So my original diagnosis was squamous cell carcinoma, highly treatable form of cancer. Instead, pathology testing determined that I have malignant melanoma, much more difficult cancer to treat. More precisely, I have anorectal mucosal melanoma, ARMM, a very rare form of melanoma. So what's that all mean? According to the National Library of Medicine at the National Institutes of Health, ARM accounts for only 1.3% of all melanomas and 16.5% of mucosal melanomas. Approximately 20 to 30% of ARMs are amelanotic, meaning they don't have any of the usual pigmentation associated with melanoma. This also means that ARM is often mistaken for hemorrhoids, skin tags, and rectal polyps. In my case, ARM is amelanotic. In other words, it doesn't have any pigmentation. That makes it really hard to detect. So, ARM, again, is often confused for lymphoma, anorectal carcinoma, sarcoma, and other things like hemorrhoids and skin tags because of its rarity and histological variability. So, in terms of raw numbers, according to the American Cancer Society, across the United States, in the year 2018, they were expecting there to be about 1,190 cases of ARM diagnosed. And with that, 235 to 355 of those are going to be amelanotic. Small number of cases means most oncologists have limited experience with ARM. So another way to look at it is if you do the math, there's about 360 million people in the United States. So I'm literally 1 in a million. December 11th, I had a visit with an oncologist at the Mayo Clinic. They're one of 4 doctors in a Mayo group that specializes in melanoma. They treat cancer patients, but they only treat cancer patients with melanoma. So the group has experience in the treatment of ARM, but there's still questions that we had to answer before a treatment plan could be put together. It's important to recognize that treatment of advanced melanomas, it's evolving rapidly, and this was confirmed by the Mayo oncologist. On the 12th of December, Madeline and I visited Mayo a second time to explore possible options. Due to the nature of the cancer and the extension beyond a local area, we believe that surgery is not currently the best option. Additionally, I'm also not an appropriate candidate for clinical study through Mayo. However, our Mayo oncologists believe that there are immunotherapies that show promise. December 19th, Madeline and I returned to Methodist Hospital to meet with my primary oncologist. We learned that they'd been discussing my case with the Mayo Oncology Group and had gained a consensus for a treatment plan. They still had to work out some small details, but they agreed that we would use a dual immunotherapy approach. On December 21st, I received an early Christmas gift as we had a definite treatment plan and were able to complete the first round of treatment at Methodist Franschhoek Cancer Center. My oncology team decided that the best approach would be an initial treatment plan using 2 immunotherapy drugs, Opdivo, also known as nivolumab, and Yervoy, ipilimumab. Yervoy stimulates T-cell activation and also helps reduce tumor immune suppression. Opdivo helps T cells recognize tumors by blocking some of the things that tumors express to evade immune system response. In other words, cancer is a dirty fighter. It likes to disguise itself, and it hides from our immune system, and that's what it lets it get away with murder. So the current standard for melanoma calls for 1 milligram per kilogram of Opdivo with 3 milligrams per kilogram of Yervoy. There's also a version for kidney cancer that reverses the doses. Mayo prefers to use the kidney cancer protocol for advanced melanoma. So 3 milligrams of Opdivo with 1 milligram per kilogram of Yervoy. So it's my understanding that the side effects with this treatment aren't as great as the other protocol, and my insurance also likes the better pricing. December 28th marked 1 week since my first treatment, and other than some bruising from the IV, things seem to be going pretty good. I experienced fatigue a couple of times, but I was warned that this would be at the top of the list of initial side effects. This treatment is not the same as chemotherapy, but there's still issues of toxicity. I'll be monitored for a multitude of blood level indicators on a regular basis, starting with a toxicity screening on Monday, January 7th. My initial dual immunotherapy treatment schedule goes 4 rounds once every 3 weeks. So I had the first one on December 21st. I'll have the second on January 14th, followed by February 5th and February 27th. It's my understanding that we'll do some imaging to determine my progress. We have some hope that if the tumor can be reduced, surgery might be an option for removal. But it's really too early to worry about that. Treatment will continue after the initial 4 rounds with a single immunotherapy given either once every 2 weeks or once every 4 weeks for at least 5 months. So as we head into the new year, here on January 1st, there's still many things, as I travel along what's going to be an exciting and terrifying journey. I'm reminded that new discoveries and treatments are occurring on a daily basis, so it's impossible to say where this journey will take me. Fortunately, I'm part of an amazing work group, and I'm surrounded by a remarkable extended family of fire service members, in addition to my close friends and family. So we'll keep you updated as we go through this, and again, it's all new territory for me. We'll see.